Okay.
Okay. Hi, this is Karosha Ona Carroll, and you know me as KO from Hollywood Entertainment News. And I have an award winning, multi talented producer, writer, director, former Marine, and most of all, a really cool guy, Lou Pizarro. How are you doing, Lou?
Good. Thank you. Wow, that was awesome. Appreciate that.
Listen, when I was going over your bio and everything on IMDb, I was like all of a sudden really nervous. Yeah, I'm a fan. Let's face it, you're just absolutely terrific. So, what I
Thank
like
you.
to do is take everybody back to the beginning.
Mhm.
Can you tell me about your younger days?
Sure. So when you say young, like in my mom's womb or not?
No, before that, no. No, I'm thinking, well, when you were a young child, what inspired you to go forward to decide to be in the Marines? And then, like that, like what was your youth about?
So it was interesting. My childhood was a very unique childhood in the sense that we grew up very restricted, very poor. My mom was a single mom early on. Where we come from New York, from the Bronx, and it was you could just imagine living in the Bronx in the '70s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was very rough. Um, Again, it was just one of those survival type things, day by day, And at that time, I had two older sisters, Sonia and Lucy. And again, my mom decided she didn't want to be married to my father, and she ended up, leaving New York, um, moved to California, lived in the projects out there, and that was it. It was one of those childhoods where you know you just had to go with the flow of things. Where was our next meal going to come from? When are we going to see our mom? Because she was always working. My
Right,
oldest sister,
exactly.
my oldest sister Sonia, she was our mother figure. Um, it was interesting. Even at one point, we lived in Puerto Rico, and that was uh, interesting because I was more like Mowgli, right? We lived out there in what they call a yunque, kind of like the
Uh,
rainforest area,
right.
and we picked coffee beans. There was no school there. We chopped down sugar cane. That's kind of what we did. So interesting. So that's why I appreciate the cool things we have here in the United States. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. So what inspired you to go into the US Marines?
So here's originally when I was in high school, I wanted to be an astronaut. I was going to the Air Force. So I was that guy that knew everything about rocket ships and space and orbits and stuff like that. That was my dream, and that's what I was studying. I literally was signing up for the Air Force, and then I had to literally quit school to help my family. They wanted me to get a job because I was able, and I didn't even think twice about it.
I
Um,
similar circumstances, absolutely. Had to quit schooling to help the family. Yes, I
so
understand that.
I've always loved aviation. I was always attached to that. So then a couple years went by, and I said, you know what, I want to explore, the military. So I was always a fan of the Marine Corps, military in general.
Hmm.
There was a lot of other things too. So I ended up literally, you know, everybody was inspired by Full Metal Jacket, Stanley Kubrick's film, phenomenal. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to join the Marine Corps. It's a challenge that I need, and that's what inspired me at the time. I needed that challenge, and a lot of my buddies were actually, in the Gulf War fighting, and I'm like, I'm not doing nothing. And like
Yeah,
I need to
I
support
understand.
however I can. So that's what inspired me. A lot of things. So
Yeah, I understand that. Sometimes I think maybe the structure and the environment, people need when they go into the services like that is very beneficial, for them. They can carry through all of that structure into their lives, for their children and et cetera, like that. But I know, I mean, a little bug in my ear over here saying people want to talk about Operation Repo. So
yes.
tell me, how the heck did that come about?
Well, okay, so it had to do a lot with my upbringing in a sense. I was a big fan of these TV shows. One of them was called Tales of the Golden Monkey.
Mhm.
So, where there was this guy by the name of Jake Cutter. He would fly around in a Grumman Goose airplane, an amphibious plane, from island to island with his one-eyed Jack Terrier, looking for this golden statue. This was like pre-World War II era, right? As far
Yeah.
as, and in fact, Raiders of the Lost Ark was inspired by this. There
Oh,
was
I
another
see.
TV series that was called The A Team.
Yes, I remember that.
So my uncle Victor, he's a Vietnam veteran, and he would tell me his stories and stuff like that. And him and I started watching the A Team from day one, so I was inspired by this, you know. And there's a point to all this stuff. If you see all my TV shows, you'll notice there's a type of a formatted system, an A Team system, where there's a balance. It's not about one person; it's everyone have equal parts, like the A Team.
Right. Yes.
And so to finish answering that question, what inspired me to do a TV show? Well, it was it was 2004. Again, I already wanted to do film. I wanted to do TV. I was hooked, but I was a realist. I had a regular job. I was working for Continental Airlines. That was my anchor. That was my insurance. That
Hmm.
was my flight benefits. Also my flight benefits for my kids.
Yes.
While they were in college and school till they were 26, they had these flight benefits. So that was kind of like I'll never leave that job, right? Um, and I'm also repossessing cars because that's where the money was at. That's where I made money. So I'd go to Continental 7:30 p.m. and I worked to 2:30 in the morning, and then I'd go repossess cars. And I did that
What a
forever.
long day. Yeah.
So I'm in my office. We're getting close to answer your question. I'm in my office, and I get a call from Maria Garcia from Telemundo News Department. And she says, "Hi, I'm Maria. I am looking for a repo guy, a repo company to do an interview about the day in the life of a repo man. Are you interested?" I'm like, "Sure." I go, "My Spanish is not the best, but I'll give it a shot." So Maria showed up with her camera guy, another producer, Diego Caro, and we drove around for 2 days, from 10 at night to 5 in the morning for 2 days.
Wow.
Um, we went to South Central, different places like that, and they asked me a bunch of questions. They got all the footage. So next thing you know, I am literally at Mercado del Valle, which is like a Vallarta, right? The Vallarta store. So, and I'm in line, and some guy tells me in Spanish, he goes, "Hey, you're the repo guy from Telemundo." I go, "I'm the what?" And everybody recognized me from that news segment that I haven't even seen
Wow.
yet. So people started buying those little Kodak, Insta Kodak cardboard box cameras, to take pictures with me. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So, of course, I get home, I call up Maria, and I'm like, "Maria, what's going on?" She says, "Luis, this segment was a hit. They want to do another segment."
Whoa.
Yeah. So, and which was it was a real big national segment, how to steal a car in under 30 seconds with the Repo Man. And I did a total of 5 segments with Telemundo in a year span. So I was their go-to guy.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so that's kind of what inspired me because I was already filming all this stuff for insurance purposes. I had cameras on my truck.
Hmm.
Um, then I met up with these two guys that went to the same church that I did in Glendale, and they were in film school. I knew nothing about editing or anything like that.
Hmm.
So I hired these guys to help me edit this reel, and I pitched it to Telemundo, and that's where it began.
Wow, that's just totally incredible. I mean, I love watching your show. I truly
Thank you.
do. In fact, I like the episode. I have to say, probably one of my favorite, and it was about the hearse, where you
Oh
went
yeah.
to get this hearse, and I'm like, oh my God, the body of. to find out that there wasn't. But do you get calls did you get calls like that often where you went to go get something like maybe you didn't film that was just totally bizarre?
Oh yeah, you know what? There's so many different stories. Again, I was a repossessor for many many years. Before we did the show, so you could imagine. And we would get calls, interesting stories. And the Hursting, like my sister, she was a big fan of that stuff. So those type of stories. But it was interesting, and I'm glad that people still watch our reruns. We just celebrated 15 years on the air,
Ah,
so that's amazing, and we certainly all
congratulations.
appreciate that.
Oh, yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So have you had any, like, with the repossession, did you
Hmm.
have anybody that was so far out of control that you had issues with them, like in court down the road because of their violence or anything like that?
Yeah, interesting enough, as off-camera repos, um, I've had some really wild stuff. Like I was involved indirectly, in a sense, with three different murders.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's no joke, and I can share this such a long time ago that the statute of limitation is gone. Everybody probably whatever, but there was one particular story that that stands out, and this one was all over the news. So there was a car that I picked up for one of my accounts, one of the banks, the finance companies, and I had my adjuster go pick up the car, did the paperwork, it was all done, it was great. And weeks went by, and I'm like, why hasn't this car been delivered? The finance company was like, hey, where's this car? So finally, I got a call from a detective, and he says, hi, so and so. He goes, yeah, you're the owner of the company. I says, yes. He says, is this one of your cars you guys repossessed? I'm like, yeah. I go, I've been trying to get a hold of the adjuster to bring the car in. What's going on? He says, well, the car was involved in a murder. I go, what?
Oh, yeah.
So the adjuster's one of the adjuster's family members took the car with another friend, and they were robbing gas stations. And during that, yeah, they ended up murdering a poor guy, one of the managers at a gas station, which was sad. But
That is sad. Yeah.
we deal with all walks of life. You imagine, from this person to that person, from the top guy to the guy at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
We had one situation where the finance company got a tip on where this really expensive, $80,000 car was at. So they called me. I get there. I pick up the car. These guys come out with guns. Thank God for my beautiful LAPD. They happened to be passing by
Whoa.
when this happened, and the cops, I mean, the guys seen the cops, and they all put the guns down. And one guy grabbed all the guns and ran away. And the cops were like, what's going on? They stopped. And the guy looks at me and he says, are you going to tell the cops about the guns? I says, what guns? I'm just here to get a car, man. That's it.
Yeah.
And I got the car. That was it. The cops said, everything good, everything good. Bye, left.
Oh,
And here's what happened. It turns out that one of the guy's friends from his camp is the one that called the finance company for $1,000 and tell him where the car is at. 2 weeks later, that guy ends up dead for
whoa.
doing that. So it's a crazy thing, Now, I've been in fights, 2x4 fights. I've been shot at. I got bullet holes on my truck. I've been knifed. I mean, it's happened. I'm really glad that I'm out of that particular business and
Yeah.
now in the entertainment business.
Yeah, I know, really. Thank God. But, I'm wondering now, technology being so sophisticated and it keeps growing, do they nowadays for repo, do they use the navigation system in cars or someone's cell phone, to ping to find out where the car is possibly instead of getting tips? Is that all probable? Do they do things like that now?
That's exactly what it is about now. It's like not only can you start a car with an iPad or a cell phone or a computer or
Right.
just clap and the car starts these days. Who knows? But yeah, as far as tracking these cars, I mean, everybody's on Facebook. They're sharing their locations. You
Yeah.
cannot these days. You cannot hide a car. And One of the things I always say, people have to understand that the whole repossession agency, the repossessors, this is part of our economy.
Yeah.
Without this, I mean, it's a $1 billion industry a year. Without the repossessor or the repossession agency, the average American could not afford the interest rates on an auto loan. There'd be no way.
Right. I understand
So
that. Yeah.
yes,
So
so
once
it's high tech now. You're right. It's high
oh,
tech.
that's
It's easy to find somebody these days.
and it's stupid to put things up on, a social media site.
Yeah,
Pictures of you in the car, they track the location. It's like, hey, we just got the car. And then,
yeah,
well, how'd you know? Well, you just posted it, dumbbell.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and I know a lot of people have hard times, and all they have to do is call the finance company and try to work it out. There's so many ways. I mean, you could be creative. I've had somebody call me up and they said, "Look, man, I need a car. I have 4 kids. I can't afford this car. What can I do? I'm scared to call, the bank because I'm scared. It's I go call them up, tell them this. You want to return the car, but you want to get into a car with a lower payment if they can please help because you have kids
Right.
and they want to do stuff. They really do. They really want to help.
They want to work with you, which is
You have
wonderful.
options.
Right, well, that's good. And tempers always flare, emotions always flare. And that
Sure.
leads me into my next question is your radio show. I heard you talking about what to do if someone is, a hater or demonizing you and stuff like that. And what you were saying really rung true to me because I have difficulties with one particular person
Hmm.
who just won't give it up. And I try everything and even call law enforcement, but she's just right under the radar. She just does
Yeah.
just enough and doesn't cross that line. So I'm hoping, if I ignore enough, maybe she just go away. But that hit home when I heard you talking about that.
Yeah, and that's just something that the character assassination where that comes from, from many things. The main thing is jealousy. She's jealous
Yes.
of you. She's jealous that you are a talented person. You have charisma. You have all these things
Oh,
that
thank you.
she wants. And
Yeah.
you have to be careful because you just never know. But if you just ignore them, let them go, but be, vigilant at the same time, eventually they need to find someone else to attack, and they will. If they don't
Right.
have 2 or 3 people there doing the same thing to already, and they'll eventually lose interest on
Well,
you.
but see, that's the thing. She
Yeah.
does post about other people and puts that up.
Yeah.
She sent my son photographs of where my kids live,
Oh yeah.
saying that her kids were upset, and her kids are one is actually on the violent sex registry in
Oh
the
wow.
city. And I'm
No
thinking
bueno.
it's really like bizarre behavior. So
Yeah.
I don't try to rile it up. I just totally ignore, but I keep an eye on the situation and
Yeah.
see everything that coming down the pike. But yeah, but your advice there really was very very good. And so I want to talk about Operation Passport, your new TV series. I
Yes.
hear that it is Expedition Unknown meets Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. Is that
That's
true?
right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. With the Latino flavor.
Oh, of course. It's like, come on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's like this. That's right. I forgot.
Oh, there you got it. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. See, you're talented.
I can't dance. I was talking to Justin Randy. He's the
Mhm.
son of Don Randy. And Justin owns the Baked Potato Jazz Club. And, well, anyways, I got 2 left feet. It's not happening. But
Yeah, I
maybe
love to
I
dance.
get
I
to
tell
you
you.
to show me how to dance and cook. That'd be
Oh
great
yeah.
too.
I
Yeah.
tell you one thing. It's like me. It's like I love going to like Mark Anthony concerts because it's just the flavor, the type of music. It's
Yeah.
amazing. And I normally go eat a really nice Caribbean meal before I go see Mark Anthony because I burn it off when I get there. You know. Yeah. So at any
That
rate, that's another story.
you can definitely move it. I love it. So tell me all about your show. What's going on with the passport?
So the Operation Passport, we started filming that mid 2021. It was kind of at first it was kind of difficult because of everything that was going on with COVID and stuff like that, right? So, but it was something that I created, and it was funny because I had a couple of networks saying, "Hey, what's your next show? We want you in front of the camera." And the truth is, I wasn't interested in getting back to particular reality type shows where I'm in front of the camera. I just didn't want to do that anymore. I think I've done enough. I'm a filmmaker at heart. I'm a creator, director. So I started producing and directing independent films, and I was good with that. Then I'm like, okay, you know what? I have this idea. I'm going to start traveling. I'm a fan of Expedition Unknown. I'm a fan of Parts Unknown, American Pickers. I mean, I love these shows. And I'm a junk guy. I buy stuff everywhere. Just look behind me. Everywhere I go, I'm buying stuff. I'm collecting. So I'm like, you know what? I want to travel. I'm an adventurous guy. And I'm like, okay, I have a lot of unanswered questions. And this show is going to answer a lot of questions. Like one, coming from the adventure world of repossessions and stuff like that, it's very risky and adventurous. And I've done a lot of crazy stuff to get a car. And I'm thinking, what am I willing to do to find out who I really am, my lineage? So my last name is Pizarro. So in 1532, Francisco Pizarro went to Peru to conquer the Incas. He founded Lima, and he started the colonization of South America under, of course, King Charles V and Queen Isabella. So this is my lineage. This is who I am.
Okay.
And I traced that to, in 1832 when my family left Trujillo, Spain, and went to Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico. So now I'm like, this is what my first season is going to be. I'm going to retrace all these steps of these conquistadors, Pizarro, and see if I am in fact a Pizarro or somehow I just got the name. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing at heart, I'm an adventurous person. I love it. I love the adventure, the food. So I had to do a lot of research and stuff to follow Pizarro's footsteps. Yeah. And that's what season 1 is about. Bringing my old audience, into a new show, and also bringing in a new audience into this new show for them to know intimately who I am, what I've done, what I've been through, and where I'm going.
That's definitely key because people want to have that commonality with you. They want to know about you. That they live vicariously through you. So to give them you in that format, I mean, that is fantastic. I can't wait to see it. I really.
Yeah, it's exciting. Again, like we finished season 1. It's in post-production, and we just started filming season 2. I'll share a couple things with you. I mean,
sure.
I was in Chichen Itza, Yucatan, Mexico, and there, oh man, now I thought I was going to prison. I was allegedly seen filming in a restricted area.
Oh, you're going to prison.
Yeah, no, and I was trying to figure out where they had these Maya Secret Service guys come and grab me, and it was a lot. I'm like, who are these guys? Like the Maya version of Men in Black, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, did I see something? What? And I've been thinking about it till today. What was it? I look at the video where there's something there. Yes, I wasn't supposed to be in this restricted zone. I hiked through the jungle, not knowing that I was going to run into whatever I ran into.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, and so just situations like that, and then later on we had the military, the Marines, or their Navy there also to interrogate me. I'm like, oh man, and I really thought, are there still flying saucers or UFOs visiting? Is there aliens here? Is there underground? What is it?
Yeah.
Anyway, so you're going to have some moments like this, fun, just everything. Like we're diving, we're looking for different items and treasures, and we're experiencing cultures. Like I spent days with the Umbera tribe, and in the middle of nowhere, I'm swimming with crocodiles. Oh,
this is going to be a wonderful show. But I wanted to get back to the Men in Black over there. If they were just putting the fear of God in you, because then this way you will tell other producers, other actors, and everything, so it's kind of stay away from the area, mind your business, stay out in the open, and forget the jungle. Because sometimes they just do that just to kind of let you know that maybe there wasn't something so secret. Maybe it was geared towards something else for you to get the
Yeah.
word back over there.
It could very well be. So my big thing is I'm a big fan of the cenotes.
Mhm.
So and when I went out there, I was like, okay, hopefully we don't step into a undiscovered cenote, whatever the case may be. Um, but when as I was walking, I fell about 4 feet into the ground, and I hit something really cement-like,
Okay.
hard-like, and I'm like, I didn't know what it was. But who knows? Who knows? I was in the realm of Chichen Itza around the pyramids, and they have section with barbed wire, and I think that's what it was because you weren't supposed to go beyond the barbed wire, and we did
Oh, okay. It could
to
be
get
as
this.
simple as that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't recommend anyone to do that because we got really, really lucky with these guys, and it was that the people that I was with had said the right things to these guys, like you guys are not going to touch this guy. You guys, this is this person, this and that. You're gonna, and they were just on the radio. Take them to jail. Bring them in. Bring them in. I mean, all in Spanish. And I'm like,
Yeah.
here's the funny thing. My producer Jeremy, he's from Oklahoma, farm boy, and he says, Lou, I can't go to jail in Mexico. My mama will be really mad at me. I, I said, Jeremy, you're not going to jail, man. This is if anybody goes, it's me, not you. And it was just at the time it wasn't funny. After it was hilarious,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Afterwards,
But
the stories in the future
yeah,
you can tell your grandkids about and stuff like that. What an amazing life you lead. You're so creative, which leads me to the
thank you.
next thing. This just blows my mind, your creativity and the way you think. What other projects do you have on deck?
So on the TV side, I have three TV shows that we're working on. I also have a documentary um, that I'm releasing, and I'm working on a new docu series right now. If you guys are fans of Stanley Kubrick and Full Metal Jacket,
Uh,
um, so our working title is Born to Kill. I'm directing this docu series on Full Metal Jacket, the making of Full Metal Jacket. Through the eyes of all the actors, and of course the late great Stanley Kubrick, etc. Um, and I got to tell you, I am blessed to be a part of this. I got the call, from one of the executive producers. Look, we want you to be a part of this. We want you to direct it. And I
oh,
was just amazed that they're giving this independent director this an opportunity,
and why not? Your
to
work
do
is
this.
good. It speaks for itself.
Thank you. And I'm just excited about it. So it's just, Stanley Kubrick, he's one of the masters of cinema, and then Full Metal Jacket, like to me, it's like the Gunny, right? Arlie Ermy. He is, not only is he our Gunny, he's the nation's Gunny, but he's the world's Gunny. Every
Yeah,
other branch, every other country, they have their Marines. And guess who's their Gunny?
yeah.
That's right. Gunnery Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket.
Wow.
So, and it just, there's so much more than just here. It's huge. And I'm just excited to just be a part of this awesome project.
Well, I'm excited for you. I'll be praying for all of its success.
Thank you.
And there's one thing you and I are involved in. We're going to be in the Operation Mobility, this van, and we both
Yes,
support Operation Mobility, which
indeed.
helps disabled veterans around the world. I'm so proud of that. And when I saw you in it with me, I'm like, oh, this is just wonderful. I want to know, since again, your fans live vicariously through you, do you have a positive message for them?
I do. And, and this is what I like. I love to tell people. It's like, treat everyone like a star because you never know who they are or who they're going to become or when they're going to be gone.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Hey, Lou Pizarro, thank you so much for being on Hollywood Entertainment News. I really enjoyed you. I want you to come back and maybe we can do an extended thing for a couple hours. I don't know. You're just
Yes,
so easy to talk to, you know?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see your comic book, by the way.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited. Yeah,
Yeah, maybe have me on your radio show. We talk all about that.
you got it. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.